have a habit of starting books, getting about 3/4 of the way through, setting it aside, and starting another one. Bad habit. But in 2025, I wanted to show you some of the books that I actually got all the way through. First was the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx. A little light reading, right? I chose this one after seeing an advertisement for free online courses by Hillsdale College. I took their class, Marxism, Socialism, and Communism, and as part of the class, I picked up the Communist Manifesto and read it while I took the course. It's a short book, but with big ideas. A few of the tenets promoted in these writings include the abolition of property rights, the abolition of rights of inheritance, centralization of credit in the hands of the state, and centralization of the means of communication and transport, again in the hands of the state. Truly, I don't understand the appeal of these ideas. Like much of the recent attempts at DEI, merit-based accomplishment is not just discounted under socialism, but it's eliminated. There are no incentives for exceptionalism, and it appears the ideal, quote, citizen is a mass-produced automaton with no capacity for free and individual thought. But I appreciated the free online course so much that I signed up for another one. I signed up for a course on Paradise Lost, a poem by English poet John Milton. So I actually got a copy of that from our local library, but this is the one that I read looked like this, had this cover. And I really liked this one because it also had some amazing illustrations in it. Paradise Lost is an epic form written in blank verse by the English poet John Milton. The poem concerns the biblical story of the fall of man, the temptation of Adam and Eve by the fallen angel Satan, and their expulsion from the Garden of Eden. It's considered to be Milton's masterpiece. It helped solidify his reputation as one of the greatest English poets of all times. What's interesting is he wrote this book. It's a series of 12 smaller books within one book. He wrote these while completely blind. He went blind in 1652. So he used dictation and scribes to write down the words that had come to him, including, I hear, his daughters. I understand his daughters were some of his scribes. I found myself reading this book with an online dictionary at my fingertips to help me understand the words that I didn't, whether it was because they were Old English words that I haven't been as familiar with, or just because they were, again, unfamiliar words. I appreciated the imagery of Milton's words. They drew pictures for me of events and thoughts that I hadn't considered before. So I highly recommend Paradise Lost. Next was my reading of Lord of the Flies by William Golding. I grew up in a small rural school in southeastern New Mexico, and I always felt like our exposure to great literature was limited. So I tried to make up for that from time to time by reading some of the classics that I've missed in my youth and my maturing years. So I chose Lord of the Flies. I'm not going to say much about this one, except that I hated it. It's the tale of a group of young boys who are stranded on an island after an airplane crash. And it's an uninhabited island, and it's what they do in order to survive. The descriptive passages telling about the layout of the island, boring. I could barely make it through those. It gave, the flora and the fauna and all of that was dry, and it was tedious, and it was hard to wade through. But then the actual action sequences, you could sense it was leading to this terrible climax, and it did. I found it distasteful enough that not only did I throw the book away, I wouldn't even donate it, like to Goodwill, and pass that on to someone else. So I cannot recommend Lord of the Flies Don't waste your time. And then the last book that I read all the way through in 2025 was Happy Lies, How a Movement You Probably Never Heard of Shaped Our Self-Obsessed World by Melissa Doherty. I like to own real books, not a Kindle, not online stuff. I like real books because I mark them up. I write all over the books. I note what I want to remember for later, what I may be able to use later. This one is well marked up. According to the book's jacket, the premise of this book is to help us understand how our society got to be so toxically subjective, why endless positivity is inherently destructive, and how we can live with faithful truth and genuine love in these self-obsessed times. As a women's ministry leader, I find myself concerned about a lot of half-truths or even outright lies and deceptions that have a tendency to infiltrate the church and especially women's teachings. So I want to be prepared for that. I want to be able to counter those things that are coming in. These deceptions that are coming in, they sound great, they're very appealing, but it's like Satan, who disguises himself as an angel of light. So too are some of these new thought, new age teachings that are coming in. And I want to be able to combat that. I found it a great help. I found it very educational, written in a very easy to read style, but there's a lot in here to take note of, to think about, to consider how do I counter that in my church and in the circle of women that I have influence over. So these were my 4 books for 2025. What did you read? What do you think of the ones I read? Drop your thoughts below. I'd love to hear from you.